I'm sure an aspect of it is a lack of knowledge and understanding, and you would always find people who justify things as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can find so-called scholars as well justifying it. They say, oh, it's only £1.
Yeah.
It's only £2. I don't know what the lottery costs now. It's only £1, it's only £2, and you could potentially win this amount, it's halal.
Yeah.
You get that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
But
it's not going to break your bank. That's what they say. Like,
they say it's not genuinely gambling,
Yeah.
because if you do lose, what difference?
What difference? Yeah.
You could say that for anything. It's only a drop of wine.
It's true.
You can say that for anything.
Yeah.
Okay, you're fasting. Oh, it's only one bite.
Oh yeah, the examples are endless.
And the topic of lottery, what do we say? Because I know a lot of charities, I don't know if you guys know this, we're talking about Muslim charities, that they will say raffle tickets and stuff like that. Like, what's our take on that?
Children being involved in raffle tickets.
Yeah.
Because in children.
So what? How is that anytime going to be allowed, or if there is a way you can do it, or what?
Yeah, there are certain ways, but normally, of course, it's haram. Because you purchase a raffle ticket, you have the opportunity to win such and such. Some people try to justify this, it's because the money goes to charity. That doesn't change anything.
Yeah, so what makes it haram then, just for the audience?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, another podcast, another Salaamseekers Thoughts of the Mind. Today we will be talking about gambling, inshallah. As we continue our addiction series, as we focused last time on food addiction, today we will talk about wealth addiction or gambling. Not wealth addiction, it's actually gambling.
Wealth destruction.
Wealth destruction, yeah. So, who wants to kick us off?
Where do we start from? Gambling covers everything.
Yeah, so gambling is an addiction.
Yeah. Yes.
We stuff that comes in.
Yeah,
and unfortunately it's prevalent in the Muslim community.
So know that the Quran mentions gambling, yeah? So can you please enlighten us a little bit on what the Quran says regarding gambling?
Yeah, the Quran mentions gambling on more than one occasion. In one verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about gambling and wine being extremely sinful, but also mentions there's some benefit in that.
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
But the harm
outweighs the...
So sometimes people make this argument, they say, wine is good for you, and maybe some people, I haven't heard it, maybe they make the same argument with gambling as well, but sometimes very poor people become very wealthy because of a gamble, so there is some good in it. Fine, no problem, we're Muslims, okay? We read the Quran, we look at what the Quran says, the Quran tells us, fine, there is some khair in it, but the ruling is prohibition.
Yeah.
And there's extreme harm in these things, so prohibition. And as they say, prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
So gambling addiction can be very, very difficult for people to overcome. They really struggle with it. So just follow the guidance from the beginning and prevent the ummah, inshallah, from engaging in the first place. It's just going to be so much easier. Yeah. So that's the first piece of advice, that just spread this message. Especially Jummah khutbah is a huge opportunity, because you're right, this is a problem in the community, should be addressed again and again. First and foremost from a religious perspective, but also from a rational perspective, which is part of the religious perspective anyway, that you can't win.
No.
Well, if it was possible to actually win as a society, gambling wouldn't exist.
Yeah, there's no money, there wouldn't be money.
It's because, let's be for real, like people go to casinos, they go to a place where you can gamble and that, and they spend excessive amount thinking they're going to win, but they don't understand it's been programmed, it's rigged. These sort of systems are made for you to lose money.
And you get the winner here and there just to show you that there's an opportunity.
Yeah, and then you see the amount of debt they get into, and that causes calamities.
So many calamities, like families, marriages break up, relationships break up.
They lose homes, like actual homes. On the street.
They can even get attacked because they borrowed money and from certain people, and they need the money back. It's some serious things, isn't it?
I think people who do gamble, I do believe that they know that there's such a small chance, but the hope they have for if they win is so strong that they'd latch onto it, because the returns are so attractive. Because when I was younger, I did forex trading, isn't it? So I was in a community full of people. Obviously, forex trading is seen as gambling now.
What trading is?
Forex trading. It's trading currency. Yeah.
So it's not. So you know something like that. It's not as clear that it's.
Can you guys tell us a bit more about in case audience
Forex
don't know?
or trading in currency in and of itself is permissible.
Yeah, because
in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they had gold coins and silver coins. It was permitted to trade between the two, and even if you ended up in profit, no issue, inshallah. It gets very complicated, so I'm not going to make it too technical. But the point is, you have an issue when you're buying and selling currency. It has to be immediate exchange. Anybody who's been to Saudi Arabia for Hajj or Umrah, you'll notice you go there, you give the money, they give you the money, they don't go into the back, etc. There's this issue of immediate exchange. That's where forex trading becomes a grey area. Now, if you're doing it online, etc., is there immediate exchange? Is there not?
So there's an aspect of that within Islamic finance. You need to trade something with it has to be asset backed. And obviously, forex is a currency, so they say that there's no real economic activity behind trading currencies. So, as I was saying, I was in a circle with people who were is very apparent that the chance of you getting a certain amount of profit involves a lot of risk, but they're willing to take that risk because the returns are so attractive that the brain doesn't even look at the risk. They just think that this 0.0001% chance that I get £10,000.
So they know the probability.
Yeah.
But they just would continue.
It's so because it's so attractive for you, and you're just thinking, and especially the media is full of people who you claim to have won this much money, and from the lottery you see they market it and things like that. So they think that I could just be one of these people. I never know when it's going to be me. And then what the people a lot of times say they get scratch cards and they say, this one might not be it, but the next one will be it. And then they keep going the next one, and then the next one. And and then
there's so many Muslims that do scratch cards.
And they actually don't know it's haram. Like a lot of people don't think
that's
it's
That's so good, because when I was younger, I knew a lot of Muslims that genuinely were doing it, and they were openly doing it. Because when alcohol, everyone knows it's haram. So whoever the Muslims that do it, may Allah protect them, but they tend to hide and do it, right?
I was thinking about the lottery. Like a lot of people don't know lottery.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying alcohol, they hide and do it because they know it's haram. With the lottery, I've seen people openly. You have a conversation, and they're like, "Hold on 1 second." It's like, I'm not saying it's explicit that, but like they don't know about it. So that's down to an education thing. It goes back to what you said about using khutbahs, using channels to say that it's haram.
Simply,
right?
Why do you think people don't consider that as gambling? Because if I went up to somebody and this is a genuine thing, and I said, this is, and they would be confused. Why do you think that is?
Wallahu alam. Often we have a lack of, as you mentioned, education, lack of awareness, and I often go on about this, that our Jummah khutbah is just underutilized. Massively underutilized. There are so many social issues, religious stroke social issues we could deal with at the Jummah khutbah. I don't know, most Jummah khutbahs, I'm not saying everybody, but most Jummah khutbahs, I don't know, they seem to have some kind of curriculum they're going through. They don't tend to address the issues. So,
true.
I'm sure an aspect of it is a lack of knowledge and understanding. And you will always find people who justify things as well. And sometimes you can find so-called scholars as well justifying it. They say, it's only £1. It's only £2. I don't know what the lottery costs now. It's only £1, it's only £2, and you could potentially win this amount, it's halal. You get that kind of thing as well. But
it's not going to break your bank. That's what they say. Like,
they say it's not genuinely gambling because if you do lose, what difference? You could say that for anything. It's only a drop of wine. It's true. You can say that for anything. Okay, you're fasting. It's only one bite.
The examples are endless.
And the topic of lottery, what do we say? Because I know a lot of charities, I don't know if you guys know this, we're talking about Muslim charities, that they will say raffle tickets and stuff like that. Like, what's our take on that?
Children being involved in raffle tickets. Because in children.
So how is that anytime going to be allowed, or if there is a way you can do it, or what?
There are certain ways, but normally, of course, it's haram because you purchase a raffle ticket. You have the opportunity to win such and such. Some people try to justify this, it's because the money goes to charity. That doesn't change anything.
So what makes it haram then, just for the audience?
So gharar essentially, or it's qimar, it's gambling, meaning you're purchasing a ticket and that ticket could potentially give you such and such, or such and such, or such and such, or nothing. Okay? Now, and that's the basis here. It's called gharar in the Arabic language, where you know what you're paying, but you don't know what you're receiving.
So what's the difference between that and investment then?
I didn't go too technical about.
Let's get technical.
Yeah, let's get technical.
Let's get technical. Yeah.
I think we have to in this topic.
Yeah, because I think that's important. I'll be honest. It's
investing can easily turn into gambling as well.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah.
Well, on a retail level, they think retail traders are more gambling than investing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The difference is the following. Okay. Let's be very clear. Any type of trading you're involved in, there's always a gamble. Okay? Like linguistically, there's always a gamble. That's why somebody who goes into business or trades can make a profit or could make a loss. Yeah. This is where people get massively confused. They say, "Oh, yeah, but you could buy a car and then have to sell it at a loss."
Yeah.
Why is that halal then? You don't know. Price could go up, price could go down.
Yeah.
What makes that halal? What makes this haram, for example? Now, when we're speaking about Islamic financial transactions, people need to understand the focus is upon the contract. This is where I get, as a religious educator, I get really frustrated because some people teach these masail from their own mind, not from evidence. Okay, it's like, usury is haram because rich nations end up subjugating poor nations. That might be a consequence of usury. It's not the reason it's haram. And it's not the definition of usury either. Okay? You look at the hadith regarding usury, don't speak about that. Yeah, these are consequences. Okay, stop me because I'm going to get quite technical.
No, it's fine.
The point is, look, the way they work is you look at the contract. Okay, if the contract is defined as a trade contract, it's halal. If it's defined as gambling, it is haram.
What, just the word trade?
No, it needs to be defined in that manner. So, for example, I give you money, I purchase a product.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, that product might have real volatility with regards to its price.
But you have actually purchased that.
I purchased it, I own something.
Yeah.
Okay? That's trade. Money.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Whereas when you're gambling, you're not purchasing a product or a service. It's a chance.
Yeah.
I have a chance.
Yeah.
See? And I'm going to quote this hadith. I often quote this hadith. This is an authentic hadith. It's going to take us on a slight tangent, but really to focus people's minds, because people conflate, and sometimes so-called religious educators conflate things as well. Okay, they say mortgage is haram. They say, why is mortgage haram? Such and such be haram as well. Such and such. They conflate everything. You see, you always look at your contract. Okay, because some people will say, I've heard this one. People say, mortgage is haram, renting should be more haram than mortgage. Say, why? Say, because it costs more money.
Yeah,
What's that got to do? Okay. Look at the transaction. Here you're borrowing money to pay more. Haram, usury, riba. Okay. Here you're paying somebody in order to access their property and to live in it. Halal. Okay. Now the hadith I was coming to is the following. This is an authentic hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You're going to have to stop me because this is technical. Okay. Part of usury, we know usury interest as or riba as you give me money, I give you more money.
Yes,
okay? It's not restricted to money. The famous hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, gold for gold, silver for silver, dates for dates, barley for barley, and wheat for wheat. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam listed out a number of commodities and said equal amount for equal amount.
Yeah.
Just like with money, you have to have equal amount for equal amount. Okay. You have to have equal amount for equal amount with the other commodities as well. Is that clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Viewers, pause if you're getting confused.
So interesting.
So that's part of usury.
Yeah.
Now, two Sahaba came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, "This person has one container of good quality dates, and I have two containers of poor quality dates, and we want to exchange." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Haram. This is riba."
They're two different.
Yeah, it has to be equal amount for equal amount. You see? Okay. Now, then they asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "What should we do?" The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Sell this one container for money, okay, and then take the money and buy the two containers." Now, why do I often narrate this hadith when I'm speaking about the fiqh of trade? Somebody who's not educated Islamically or doesn't understand Quran and hadith or fiqh, they say the result is the same.
Yeah, the one ends up with 2 days.
It's exactly the same. The result is exactly the same. Okay? But the point is, when you look at the actual contract, okay, he's purchasing an amount of days for an amount of money. Halal.
Yeah.
He's purchasing an amount of days for an amount of money.
Halal.
Halal.
Yeah.
You see? That the Prophet ﷺ said, Riba. This the Prophet ﷺ is permitted. That's why when it comes to Islamic finance, you have to focus on the contract.
Yeah.
You don't focus on, well, this looks similar to this. It's, it doesn't work like that. You focus on the contract. The contract is halal, inshallah. And if it's haram, haram. Because somebody might say, certain things you trade in are more volatile. Yeah. And you could potentially make more loss than you could make on the lottery, for example. Yeah. We don't care.
Doesn't matter because you've got that product and that is something, a tangible.
Look at the contract. Yeah. The contract is one of trade, halal. Yeah. As long as the product is halal.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This is gambling, haram.
Yeah.
And this is a huge error people make when it comes to these issues. Okay.
So basically, gambling's haram.
That also ties in with the very strong principle in Islamic financial crisis, profit and loss sharing, isn't it? So when investing, you're...
I forgot we got Sheikh Economic, because he actually studies, where he's studying Islamic finance,
There's
right?
someone in the guest as well.
Oh, and someone in the guest who does accountancy, and someone who thinks they're a data analyst. so we've got quite a strong contingency of...
I had a question as well, sorry.
Oh, mashallah.
Does that mean pension is also haram?
Pension in and of itself, again, once again, you look at the actual transaction. Okay? In and of itself, it does become very problematic. In and of itself, it's not a problem. Why? In and of itself, what you're doing, you're giving money to an organization. They're going to invest it for you. And that investment may grow or decrease. That's investment. Okay? In and of itself, in principle, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is they tend to invest in that which is prohibited. They often,
you need to know where they're investing.
You need to know where they're, and nowadays there are better options. I'm not saying they're all haram or these are halal, these are haram. I don't know. I don't have a pension. I have no intention. Okay, but the point is, the principle is fine. The reality of what they're investing in, that's where the issue is. Because a lot of pensions, they invest in government bonds. Government bonds are nothing but usury. So
in the UK, a lot of jobs, as soon as, sometimes depends how much you're earning, they automatically put you, and then you have to like wait a little bit and get yourself out.
I opted out the first time I saw my paycheck. I opted out.
They are building some Sharia compliant pension funds now. Pension funds is a bit trickier than conventional funds. Because pension funds, obviously, as City said, they invest in fixed income products, which are more... because of periodic payments, they're more stable. It's like passive income, so it's hard to build a stable Sharia compliant fund. So now, obviously, they've developed products like Sukuk, which is like an Islamic version of a bond. There has been like some financial engineering being done, but with pension funds, it's going to take some time. I believe Wahid, the company, they're in the process of building a pension fund.
We should get him to sponsor this one.
Wahid, if you're watching, if you're one person or a group of people, please sponsor us.
It doesn't mean one.
They're not.
You know what? I just realised Sid's just lost his bit. Right? Okay, fine. I should have used Sid. No, I was gonna say something.
Directed that way.
Drop shipping. So drop shipping, right?
What's drop shipping?
You've never heard of drop shipping?
So basically,
you don't know.
Just explain it.
It's basically like, as you said, you have to own a product. They don't own a product; they sell a product.
And they don't even know the quality of it.
No,
they
just
they never see
so
the product.
someone go on Alibaba, see X, Y, and Z product from this manufacturer. They'll be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna sell on this platform from this company. I don't own any of it.
As I always say with these things, the details matter. Okay, because on the face of it, it seems like it's not permissible. Why? Because you're selling something you own or you do not own. The Prophet ﷺ prohibited selling things you don't own or selling things you don't possess. Ownership and possession are two slightly varying concepts. Okay, but the point is, this I'm not saying it's haram or halal. You have to look at the specifics of it. If you've done it through Wakala, you'll be perfectly fine. You see, whereas if you've done
Could
it
you
through,
define that?
Yes, Wakala is when you have somebody behaving or acting as an agent on your behalf.
Like an intermediary.
I'll give you an example. Okay, this yourself, you own this.
Oh,
okay?
mashallah. Mashallah. I didn't expect a gift in the podcast.
This is an example, I don't
Oh,
know. Okay, so anyway, you say to me, if you want this, I'll sell it to you for £10.
if you want this, I'll sell it for you for £10.
Yeah. I say to Ibrahim, I want to sell you.
Okay.
And I describe it for you. I'll show you a picture. Okay, this product. I want to sell it to you for £15. You want it, okay? And you say, yes, I want it. I do the deal. Not permitted.
Before you even bought it from me.
Because I don't.
That's
We do
so
the deal.
interesting. Wow.
Oh wow, that's
That's
really
not
common.
permitted.
Do you know a lot of people do that?
Yeah.
A lot of people actually sell like that without owning
Yeah,
the
without
product.
owning it.
And before even buying, yeah, kind of
I
like drop
always thought
shipping.
drop shipping was haram. So
Yeah.
Let me take this further though, okay? However, if I don't do the deal, I just take a request, if you like.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I don't, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
You say to me, yeah, I'm happy to purchase it for £15. I say, okay, give me a few hours.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah.
Right.
And I will do the deal. Okay?
Yeah.
I get on the phone with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes.
I want
to buy it.
£20 for it now. Because I've heard your conversation.
Shrewd business. So I purchase it.
Yeah.
Okay. After that, I can sell it. Now there is the issue of I need to possess it. But once again, you can have a wakil possess it on your behalf. I could get a courier to pick it up from you, and he's my wakil. Okay, but that way it would be permitted. If I done the deal immediately, it wouldn't be permitted.
Yeah.
The other possibility is you say to me, "I'll sell this to you for £10." Okay.
Yeah.
I say, no. What I will do, I'll sell it on your behalf. I will become your agent. I will become your wakil. I'll sell it on your behalf.
But you take a fee.
I can take a fee, yeah. We agree on it,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Okay? You see, that would be halal. So this is where you have to be very, very careful. Too many Muslims, they rush. Okay?
Yeah.
They have a little bit of knowledge. Haram. Okay? Halal.
Yeah.
Okay? the common one is Islamic mortgages halal. Why? Because they've got muftis on the board. It doesn't work like that. You see?
does they take like a fee as well?
Sorry?
Islamic mortgage, they take like a fee, don't they? Like a fixed fee.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a whole new
Yeah,
podcast
yeah.
episode, inshallah. So,
So I was going to say on that note, if people are interested, they can study the Fiqh of Trade,
I
right?
would
Which is very
study.
important
Wow.
for all of us to do.
Yeah.
Any books that you suggest?
So the,
Abu Siddhi
are you
does,
doing
for
any
Islam Answered.
upcoming ones anytime?
I just finished one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so inshallah maybe we can.
From Mukhtasar al-Quduri.
inshallah, you didn't go bankrupt at the end of it.
I can go bankrupt, but that's another story.
No. But yeah, will you be doing one that's coming up, Siddhi?
I don't know. Usually, when I do a course,
I have a little bit of a gap, yeah. Inshallah, if we do,
Yeah,
we
we can
put it
put
on
it
our
on
socials and everything, inshallah.
So what if, say, they can't attend the course? What
Siddhi, okay, sorry.
what book would you suggest them? Any books or somewhere? Which direction would you point them towards?
Yeah, wallahu alam. When it comes to the fiqh of trade, I do actually prefer, well, normally I'm not like this, but with the fiqh of trade, I do prefer more contemporary works.
Rather than
classical, even though the contemporary works have to be based on the classical.
yeah,
Okay, you have to take the knowledge from there. But the point is, the classical works are going to have a lot of masail that are not that relevant to you.
yeah, it's true.
Like drop shipping, for example.
Yeah. So they won't cover drop shipping, but they'll cover lots of masail regarding trading in cattle. Okay.
Oh wow!
So
We should have a Salaamseeker's cattle trade.
They still trade cattle though in
yeah, of course, but I mean,
But as in, like,
that's
you
what
know,
If you could link this in a way that financial products, a lot of them are engineered in a way for it to be very easy to mismanage them and to misuse them, which ends up, for example, like investing, for you to become addicted to gambling because they let you use things like leverage and stuff, which you're investing up to 500 times more than you actually own. So they make it easy for people on the retail level to gamble because they give you these attractive returns when in reality it's a big institutional banks that are making the money. So it's kind of like they're facilitating it now, isn't it? And surely that's a communal obligation to tackle that, right? If it's affecting the ummah.
I dress up as with trade, you always try to provide alternatives.
So, like, someone who is suffering from a gambling addiction, someone who's suffering, I mean, it's any form of gambling, whatever it is, whether it be slots, whether it be, because obviously now you've got internet. So, like, and another thing is, every single thing you go on videos, Islamic videos, whatever it is, there's like Bet365 and all these kind of ads that pop
Do
up.
they not call something Mecca?
Mecca. There's Mecca.
Yeah.
That's there. There's a few. There's some, but everyone's doing it online now. It's so easy. Games. There's gambling. There's slots. There's like you give £1 and that's it. It's like, so how would you advise people?
The advice to the average Muslim is don't take the first step. That's to the average Muslim. Okay, don't say I just tried it out or it's only this or it's a free trial or this. Don't take that first step. That's to the average Muslim. As for the person who is,
deep into it, addicted,
But I believe, I'm no expert in this field, but I believe usually, more often than not, this person is going to require expert help, specific expert help. We can help with certain things, we can advise them, we can inform them it's haram and speak about how sinful it is and the potential harms religiously in the afterlife, also the harms in this life. We can speak about all of that. We can try to help them by trying to pull them away from their current context that they're doing it in, etc. But I think very, very often when people are deeply into gambling, they're going to need specialist help.
Yeah, it's like any form of addiction. Eventually you will need some kind of.
Because if a person's financial destruction is not stopping that, then unfortunately there's
not much else.
There's not much else you're going to be able to do. But we will try.
Cynthia, sorry, I've got a few questions. I was wondering from yourself if you could give any practical advice for people. So let's say someone's really struggling with poverty. And they need money, and that might be the first thing that they feel like, okay, you know what, I can't do anything, I've tried everything, this is what I need to do. What else can they do alternatively? Is there anything else they can do instead of, because once you start the first step, you may start get addicted to it, right? That's the point.
Again, we will always say to people, go towards the halal rather than the haram. Even if sometimes the halal option, people struggle with it, there's social stigma attached to it, etc. No. You're the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're devoted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is halal, this is haram, you go to halal. Okay, so if somebody is, struggling that much, then there's the option of zakat. Yes, I know a lot of people don't like to take it, there's stigma, etc.
That's a good point. You might be eligible for zakat,
You see?
So you're saying they may be eligible for
zakat?
They will be eligible for zakat. Sadaqah possibly. Mashallah, I hear over and over statistics that speak about how generous Muslims are. Okay?
So probably,
this is where masajid and Islamic institutions need to get involved. To have local funds and such things that people can go and access. But a lot of people, they're reluctant to do that. I don't want to take zakat. Why? It's halal. I'll gamble instead. That's haram. It's not a choice.
Can I touch on that point, Siddhi? Family members, if you know anyone that is struggling with money and actually eligible for zakat, as long as they're not your dependent, right? As long as they're not your mother or your child, if they're your siblings, you can give them, or your wife, if they're your siblings and you know they are struggling with money, you can actually give them zakat. Is that correct?
If they're below nisab,
if they're below the nisab,
give it to
that's something.
You can't give it to mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, and on up. Son, daughter, grandson, and on down. Spouse. You can't give it to those. All other relatives, you can give to them, and if they're equally poor, equal to other poor people that you're aware of, then it's superior to give.
That's what I was
saying. Is that the top of the priority?
If they're equally poor, though. They're equally poor. Because you might find, you have a brother who's just below nisab, but it's okay. And then somebody else who's struggling to feed his children. We're not going to say your brother's your priority there.
So would they be sinful if they do decide to give it to in that scenario, if they decide to give it to their brother instead of someone?
The zakat will be valid, because zakat is valid as long as you pay somebody who's below nisab. However,
but would they be sinful in the sense like neglected somebody?
What will happen is whoever is aware of that person's poverty needs to support that person. Again, it gets a little bit technical. When a person is poor, then first and foremost, those who are closest to that person have to support that person. If they're unable to, then it widens and broadens, and eventually it comes to a point that even if you've got no relationship with that person, but you're aware of this person's poverty, you have to do something. But then it's not just you. Let's say 4 of us are aware of this particular individual.
We have to do it together collectively.
It's obligatory on all of us. Let's say one of us doesn't have any ability to do it. It's upon the rest of us. So it might not be on an individual person necessarily, But all those who are aware of it, and you can make other people aware of it, it is an obligation.
So mashallah, that shows if people are feeling like that.
No, that was my point.
Yeah, so then they can take
Yeah.
alternative routes. They can look
Yeah.
at and see if they are eligible for zakat,
Yeah.
and that would be much
And
better
that's-
option to
Yeah,
take.
that's the point. If it's permissible as a Muslim, then you shouldn't feel ashamed about it. And obviously, I don't know everyone's situation. I don't know what it is, but inshallah, the point is that if Allah makes it permissible, then it should be fine.
And
And
especially
it's a
if you're
blessing.
into the haram.
Especially if there's a haram option out there, which is probably like, but don't worry about what people say. Just worry about what Allah will,
I feel like they're just more scared to ask. Just because of what other people
No, but that's
do.
why I think it's the responsibility of others around them to be aware,
Yeah.
to speak to individuals, especially siblings, understand the situation.
You know, we spoke about games and stuff in a previous episode. So games that involve gambling, is it okay if there's no money involved or fake
That's a
money?
good point. Yeah.
Because a lot of people like to play poker and things like
There's
that.
no actual gambling. Again, in and of itself, because there's no gambling, it might not be prohibited. Our concern would be, is it going to lead to something?
Yeah.
So, poker, for example, that's well known, something you use for gambling. So, again, because there's no gambling taking place right now, it's going to be difficult to say it is haram.
Yeah.
You may go down the route of, this is the way the fusaq or the kuffar. I mean, that's a complicated argument, but even then, you can't say immediately it's haram. You need to kind of substantiate that. But even though you may say, well, maybe it's permissible in and of itself, it may be. But I certainly wouldn't advise that.
Siddiq, what about, a lot of these betting places and games, they actually give you money to start off with, and then you can use that money to build, using your own money. Is that haram?
You mean using their money?
Yeah.
So they give you like reward, you get a £10 free bet.
Yeah.
That's what
Again,
says.
technically no, because it's not your money, okay? But don't do it.
Yeah, no, for sure don't do it because you're going to fall into the addiction.
They know what they're
Because
doing.
it's kind of going back to the earlier on we talked about advertisement with food. They use very
They know
similar
what they're doing,
tactics.
and they put a lot of money into this stuff to know. Why would they give £10 to
Yeah.
a million people?
They'd only do it if we give them more money.
Yeah.
Because it's all business, right? So
don't
they're
be
using
fooled,
how to attract consumers. That's the
So
point.
technically, if it's their money, it might not technically fall under gambling,
Yeah.
but it's going to lead to massive problems. And
Yeah.
we do have the concept of something that leads to harm is prohibited in and of itself.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful with these
Yeah.
kind of
So
things.
on that, I wanted to ask, I know once we spoke about betting as well, and you know how a lot of people might say, oh, I bet if you could do this, I'll give you that.
I was about to say
Because I know
Siddiq did
previously
say something.
mentioned
There needs to be
years
a middle
ago to us,
person,
but I
you
remember.
said that.
It depends how you do
If
it.
another person
Firstly,
does
if it's one way, then it's not gambling. Okay. If I say to you, if you can hold your breath for a minute, I'll give you £10. Okay. And that's one way. That's not gambling. Okay. That's not going to be qimar. That would be more like a jaiza. Okay. That's a reward. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
that's allowed.
If it's one way, yeah. Whereas if I say, if you can hold your breath for 1 minute, I'll give you £10. And if you can't, you give me £10.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
not that.
And so.
And you also said to if I remember correctly, if there are 2 people and there's 3 people, but that third person can do.
He's not involved.
And he's
he
like
says, whoever wins,
Yeah.
I give them the money.
Yeah.
Once again, it's going to be like a prize. So look,
More
I
like a
say,
competition.
whoever out of you two can stand on one leg for the longest, I will give that person £10. Once again,
I
it's
think the
one way.
brothers are going to get up.
Yeah,
and
we're going to do this
try
now.
this.
How about the £7?
I was about to hold my breath there. We have to wrap up. It's
So
not
we
going to
have a
work. is it?
question.
It's just about advice, like for the children of parents that gamble. So, like,
Oh,
how could they, if the parents don't admit it, but the children know, like, how
Yeah.
can they tackle that? If that
That's a
makes
very
sense.
good question. Yeah.
Yeah, subhanAllah, they have
That's
to
very
use
tough.
whatever means is available to them.
Yeah.
That might mean, speaking to the mother, if it's the father who's gambling, speaking to uncles, speaking to grandparents, maybe local sheikhs and imams. You do what you can in the circumstance. You try to do whatever you can to stop this person. Ideally, of course, first protocol is you speak to that person, explain to that person needs help, etc., etc. But you keep trying, inshallah, because it's so destructive and it's completely prohibited, and it's it's impacting their family massively. So they have to just keep trying and keep thinking of different means of trying to assist.
Just follow on. What if the children cut ties because they've tried so hard? Is that simple for the children?
Normally, no. To cut ties completely, no. Especially with parents, we don't tend to say, you know, you might have really extreme examples where that might be overlooked. But no, you know, the response to this, the response to a sin is not another sin. You see, it's sinful to cut ties. So we'll say, no, don't cut ties. Fine. If they feel that minimizing their interaction might wake this person up and might think, oh, subhanAllah,
that's what I've lost. Yeah,
this person hasn't spoken to me for a week or two or a month, must be really upset with me. Fine, you know, as a means to try to wake this person up, jolt this person, fine. But, you know, as a permanent thing, right, I'm cutting ties because I've had enough, we don't do that.
SubhanAllah. Yeah, that's very important. It's a very good question.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention one last thing. So obviously, because it's a good point that you talked about children. Usually at the homes of people that do, you know, indulge in gambling or whatever, it is quite aggressive and violent, and there is a lot of other things involved. People do steal money as well to go and, because, you know, there's a lot of that element as well that happens at the homes. What advice do we have for people in regards to that, Siddi? Because obviously there's going to be most likely violence involved. There might be, you know, like deprived in terms of financial, because, you know,
people stealing money from each other.
Stealing money, and maybe they might not be able to feed their children. And we're now talking about a lot of oppression, in a sense,
Yeah, well, a terrible oppression, and then enabling as well, you know, because he's going to ask for money.
Oh, yeah.
And she's going to feel obliged, or she's going to feel threatened. So, again, in these kind of situations, when it gets that extreme, and you need expert help. But the advice to her is going to be, she has to try everything she can.
This is to the mother and
to the
wife,
mother,
to
the
wife,
mother.
It is,
she needs to try everything she can to assist him, and if it's simply not working, then she has to prioritize her children and herself. She can't be in a situation where she's just constantly being beaten up or money's being taken from her. Her children are deprived. No, that's not a sustainable situation. So she may have to move them out of that situation. Certainly she's going to try everything she can prior to that. She'll speak to his family, she'll speak to her family. As I said before, you know, you try to get as many people involved as possible to try to make things better, but ultimately, if it comes to it, he just will not desist from what he's doing. She has to prioritize her children and herself.
May Allah subhanahu protect us all from such calamities. It's very, very difficult, I think, for everyone that experiences such things. Inshallah, we will wrap up our addiction on gambling. I think we did go a little bit off topic with zakat, with the various other things, but inshallah it's beneficial nevertheless. And I think we did touch on addiction anyway of gambling.
And if people are seeing different formats because our camera died, so
inshallah, So I think we'll continue the addiction series is quite a long series, just for those wondering when will this addiction series end. We are addicted to the addiction series. So how is that going to work? But I think the point is that inshallah we're trying our best to tackle every point of addiction and give it the due, rather than speak about all addictions in one series. So we'll continue with it, and we'll get into some interesting topics. I think we're going to be tackling shisha and smoking. It's going to touch a few nerves, and then drug addiction. And I think Sadi, you have something lined up for us, interesting, which she's not telling us. We don't know.
It will be hilarious.
No.
Nobody's trying.
So she's got something set up for us, so we don't know. Sydney doesn't know, so we will go in there with something. So we just need to trust her. So inshallah, thank you so much for joining this series, and you know, Ibrahim.
As always, don't forget to like, subscribe and share.
And inshallah keep supporting us, make dua for us, and inshallah thank you so much for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.